Hello once again, psychology students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have notes for Module 7, Studying the Brain. So we're going to talk about brain scanning techniques. And the first one we're going to mention here is something known as a CT or a CAT scan, known as computerized axial tomography. And what this is basically a way to map the brain by taking a series of X-ray photos from a variety of different angles and then combining them by a computer into a composite representing a slice through the body. And normally, an individual who has a CAT scan or a CT scan, they're probably going to a hospital. In some cases, in this part of the country, we have mobile CT scanners that go to some of our regional hospitals. But it has that tendency to kind of look a little bit like our next item, talking a little bit about an MRI. You may be asked to lie down and to go through kind of what looks like a tunnel. You're going to be asked not to make a lot of movement so that they can produce the best quality images possible. The second one, the MRI, which may be used for a variety of different things, aside from scanning the brain, but is a magnetic resonance imaging. It is a technique that uses magnetic fields and radio waves to produce computer-generated images that distinguish among the different tissues. So your soft tissues will vary from other forms of tissue. This allows us to see the structures that lie within the brain and probably gives us a pretty decent image of maybe if there is structural damage within the brain itself. The third is not so much a scanning of the brain as it is looking at the activity happening within the brain, and that is something known as an EEG or electroencephalogram. And this is basically amplified recording waves or radio waves that go through, that are actually sent through the brain by electrodes that are placed on the scalp. And what it does is it basically measures the activity that is happening within the brain. And what's interesting is it has been used not only to just see whether or not the brain is actually functioning, but these different waves can actually stimulate different parts of the brain without surgically having to operate on a person's brain. And it is now being used for a variety of different treatments for individuals who have developmental disabilities such as autism. And finally, the PET scan, something known as the positron emission tomography. It is a way to see the visual display of brain activity. It starts with the injection of some kind of radioactive form of glucose. It's kind of like you take a syrup. It's probably much like a very, very highly concentrated juice. And within that are the radioactive particles. Once a person has ingested that, over a period of time, they can go through the PET scan. And what it will do is it will look at how the brain is actually functioning in real time as far as how you're performing certain tasks. And that might, again, give us a better indication of whether or not there is structural damage happening to certain parts of the brain. Thank you very much.